How's it going, Comic Chat Army? We're here with David Summey. He just got a book coming out called Return to Sender. How you doing, David?
Great. How are you doing?
Doing pretty good. So tell us about your book. You said this is your very first comic book ever, right?
Yes, it is. I've been drawing all my life, so this is kind of exciting because I've been drawing a lot of comic book and just giving them away, pages and pictures and such, give them away. But my daughter, about 2 years ago, I drew something at work and I brought it home, and my daughter said, "Oh, that looks like something I've been thinking of." And we sat down and started talking, and next thing that we know, we had this whole story that we came up with, and it needed a lot of work, but it was still something was really unique. And I had a few friends of mine from school that were actually writers, and about 2 weeks later, we met up, we started talking, and they were really interested in joining with me to create this whole world, and which is Roger Boyd's and Mark Freeman. And we sat down and we started brainstorming. It took, honestly, because we're very new at this, it took about maybe a few months of sitting down every 2 or 3 weeks because we all have jobs, and just figuring out, what we could do and how this would come about. And so with my daughter and us, we come up with this really unique story. And what it is Return to Sender is about a post officer, and he is not a postman or a Pony Express. It's in the 1800s, and he goes around and delivers mail. But what he does is really works for a secret agency for the government. And what they do is that the United States was, before we populated it, it was filled with all the myth, monsters, fairy tales, everything you could think of. All those stories came from the United States. And when we came over here, we started growing and taking over the land, and the government realized that there was bad things in this world that we needed to either control or eliminate to actually grow as a country. So they created a secret service kind of agency called the post officers, and they go throughout the country and they take care of myths, monsters, and demons and all kinds of things. So, for instance, if he goes in town, they say don't go that way because it's haunted. He goes that way and takes care of the haunted, or whatever the issue is. So the stories, the reason why we call it Return to Sender, the stories are not about it's not about the letters he delivers. It's about the letters he can't deliver. The people that have issues and passed away, so he has to return to sender the letters. So that's kind of like how it's based on.
Oh, yeah, that sounds very interesting. You said it's on Kickstarter right now?
Yes, so we have the first issue of Kickstarter, and how we kind of like to say this is the first 10 minutes of a movie. And what it is we're introducing the character, and it's a short little story about a situation that's happened in a small town. He comes into a small town, and everybody seems like they're gone. And then he comes to find out that everybody is not gone; they're dead. And of course, it goes into blood, violence, and then it goes into it starts off like a Western, slow pace, peaceful. The next thing you know, it picks up and just goes up and down until the end. And then you're like, wow. Then of course, it's on to the next delivery. So this is it's his own story. So you can get this one comic book and be happy, but it actually starts off and goes to the 6 issues that we have planned. It's just going to be unbelievable. And I'm going to tell your guys, this is like a secret that I was holding back, but it's actually our whole 6 issues are based on the Universal Monsters. So it's our version of the Universal Monsters. So this is a secret that I haven't told anybody yet, but it goes from issue 1 to issue 6. And if you like issue 1, issue 2, 3, and 4, and 5, 6 is going to blow your mind.
All right, I can't wait
Yeah.
to check it out. So tell us the experience of working with your daughter. Would you say that would be a more bonding experience? Because it sounds a little intimidating. Go ahead. Sorry.
Oh, no, go ahead about your daughter, because we're talking about your children or something.
Yeah, because it would sound like it'd be intimidating for me to work with family, like getting an argument and, you know,
And they're there.
or yeah, or disagreements. It feels like it would be more intense because it's family.
It is, and we've had our ups and downs on this story, believe it or not. She's coming around, and I like to think that I know, because I've read so many comic books, that because I've been a fan forever, that I kind of know what might work and what might not.
Mm-hmm.
But she's got a whole new, coming. We started drawing when she was little, so her artwork blows me away, and I'm excited to show the world her artwork. And now this is coming to life. She sees an opportunity, or I think she sees where she can show her stuff. And I'm excited, maybe an interview with her one day of her comic book that she's actually created on the side. And but her artwork is just unbelievable. And it's kind of cool to watch her artwork, and now I'm learning from her artwork.
Right.
So it's really cool. I taught her how to draw, and then now she's teaching me some things. So I can't wait to be able to show you. Yeah, and it has ups and downs, and disagreements, and me giving in and her giving in, and it's a battle. But all in all, at the end now, I got dogs.
Right.
I got dogs. Anyway, sorry.
No, it's fine.
Yeah, it's a great thing. It is a great thing. It's a bonding experience that I really enjoy, and I'm hoping to expand on that.
Is any of her artwork in the book Return to Sender?
Yeah, I think we're going to try to put some of her sketches in the PDF. I'm looking at it right now.
Right.
But the PDF and things that she's comfortable with, because she's new to, and it's nervous. But I'm hoping to put that, and if she's okay, I would love to put one of her really good drawings in the comic book. But this is something we're working through as a father and daughter.
Right. That's a really awesome story. Yeah. If she ever wants to come on, we'll interview her someday.
Oh, yeah. Again, she'd probably love to do that later on. We're working towards that.
Yeah. Just let me know. No brush. Is her comic book finished? The one that she's working on the side, or?
I don't think so, but it's the idea and the plot is really set up.
Okay. Well, what advice would you give to new people out there trying to make their comic book? This is your very first one. What's some do's and don'ts?
Don't worry. Just do it. I mean, the idea is just do it. Don't stop. There's a lot of pauses in this first issue. Nervousness. Is it good enough? No, just do it. The best thing I can say is, the reason why I'm saying this is just do it, because your artwork, no matter what you like, is going to be good enough. Because there's multiple different talents, multiple different levels of art, And I think that's what stops most people is they feel that their art is not good enough. And you got from The Simpsons to South Park, there's different art styles. So don't think you can't draw or can't tell a story. Just tell your story and see how people like it. And be open for opinions and be open to understand that your artwork's not going to touch everybody. So, and that's the only thing. It's nervous because you're worried about if it's going to be good enough.
All right. So after the 6, do you plan on doing more, or do you just right now you're just waiting to see how it goes?
Yeah, we plan on doing 6 at first, and then we plan on going from there to creating maybe an ongoing series. Also, this is RMD Studios. We're creating now this is RMD Comics, but we're going to create other things like, for instance, one of the writers already has 2 books out. It's a documentary on Dr. Paul Bearer, and you can get it on Amazon. And then he has another book out, Dr. Zombie, which is one of the comic books we're going to create. He has actually a book out on Amazon. So we're going to turn that into a comic book, which is a host, and it's going to be stories with him involved and with him not involved, the Dr. Zombie character. And so that's might be our next Kickstarter. And then, of course, Return to Sender 2 is going to come out right away. But I got some other artwork or some other stuff I have to do. But yeah, as soon as we get done with, I have another artist, which is Vince, which he's our editor. He's also an artist. So me and him are going to do a few stories in the Dr. Zombie book that were coming out, and it's a really unique story and a really neat couple of stories. It's several, probably about 3 to 4 stories are going to be in there.
Oh wow! All right. So is your comic book in black and white or colored or both?
Full colored. It's going to be. Matter of fact, I'll show you the cover if you don't mind. This is the cover, and it's going to be full color, and it's going to be Andrew Platt is. I'm sorry, Andrew Pate is one of the is the colorist for the whole comic book, and he's done stuff like, I think there's another indies out with wrestling. He's doing the coloring for that book. He's done several books coloring, and he's doing an amazing job with us. So we were very happy with having. And we have Jerome doing the lettering, and then we have Mark Freeman, I told you, and Roger Boys. They're both helping me create. We all come up with a plot, and we all come up with a story. And then I kind of molded it all to what the first issue. And then from here on out, I'm hoping to, I think they're going to, now that they know where we all want to go, they're going to focus on writing the next few stories. And then we're all going to work on the plot, but hopefully they'll just write stories and I'll be drawing.
All right, that's all right. Yeah, we're going to look forward to that too. That sounds interesting. So when you draw, are you a traditionalist? I think that's the word. Like, do you like pen and paper, or do you do it digital, or do you do a little bit of both?
I do the pencils and inks, but I don't do. I started out as drawing as a penciler. Never wanted to touch inks, and till I found out whiteout's my friend. So I went from pencil. All I do is kind of sketch the drawing out, and then I start to ink. And if I mess up, now I know I can white out.
Right.
Mostly, I define everything in pencil as a sketch, and then I go from there with inks. And then I do mess up every now and then, but I'm kind of getting where I'm very comfortable working from the sketch.
Okay. Trying to see. Yeah, I know you've done a lot in your life. So if this interview goes well and everybody wants us to, we'll bring you back to talk about your wrestling career and a couple other great things you've done in your life. You've got a very
Yeah, I started out when I was younger. After high school, I started training with Dean Malenko and the Great Malenko in Tampa here, and I started probably about 6 months into that training. After my third match, I got scouted by Dave Penzer, which is the ring announcer for WCW, and my fourth match was with Rick Rude, and so I went from like 100 to 200 people in an audience to 12,000 people. So it was a big step for me. Yeah, it was a challenge. And then I did that for about two years, and then I wound up wrestling locally here in Florida for another 10 years. And
yeah, we're gonna stop you there so people, we can bring you back and we tell the whole story. I give y'all a little sneak peek. So are you currently reading any comic books, like weekly or monthly?
I actually stopped about maybe 6 months ago. I've always collected all my life. So I was collecting DC and some Marvel. Batman's always my favorite. Batman, the character is always my favorite. X-Men is my passion when I first started. And so X-Men was my passion when I first started, and I went from there to collecting all different kinds. And I really never got into indie comics. And now that I'm involved with them and I see the unbelievable work that's there, I'm probably not going to be collecting a lot of regular comic books from now on. I'm probably going to start collecting indies because there's some unbelievable stories out there that I'm really interested in to see.
Oh yeah. Since you're an artist, what character would you like to draw out of the big two?
Oh, of course, Batman, Wolverine. Those are those. I bet you that's probably one of the most everybody knows. But I love drawing Wolverine. I love drawing Batman. My colors my artwork is a little dark, so those kind of fit in. Moon Knight is really cool. I like that they're bringing him back. It's. I like that DC. DC getting a little darker. To me, it's kind of cool on their TV shows, or a little darker, more adultish. But I would say, yeah, probably those two characters. I would love to. That would be if I drew those. That would be my. I would say I would be successful if I were able to draw one of those characters.
All right, and this is the last question. Then we'll let you do shout outs and everything. Is there an artist out there that inspired you to draw, like your style?
My very first artist was John Burns. I mean, it just his artwork from the X-Men. I had almost all of his X-Men books, to Alpha Flight, to Submariner. It just went Fantastic Four. I just was a fanatic on his work. And then of course Jim Lee is just all times. I mean, they're all. I mean, you can't beat Kirby with his pages. I mean, it's just. I'd say John Byrne because that's when I started. That's what I started collecting, and John Byrne, and once I started branching out from there, but John Byrne I would say was my first.
Okay.
That was the one I would say was my favorite.
All right. Well, do you have any shout outs or anything you want to tell the people before we go?
No, man. Well, I mean, I think, Luke Stone for doing a cover. I think Javier Lugo for doing a cover. Travis is writing, like I told you, writing a part of our books. I think my whole team, and that's basically it. I really do. I mean, it wouldn't have happened without them. And you know, this is a whole new world for me, and I can't wait for the next one.
All right. Well, thank you, David.